He's BKBMG, same on Instagram as well. For Brooklyn Boy Makes Good. Loved his work in The Wire as well as Boardwalk Empire, and now in The Public, which premieres in theaters today, April 5th. Good to see you, Michael K.
Thank you, Rich, man. Thank you for having me.
So you are from Flatbush, right?
Born and bred, East Flatbush, Vanderveer.
And you were in your clothing line, Kings County, New York, right there?
I know, right? Can you imagine? Like this was open, right? So I took it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's pretty cool to see, as you said, a Brooklyn boy making good.
Thank you.
Are you a fan of any specific at all New York team? Is there one that you want to see win more than any other?
I mean, of course, my first love is the Knicks.
Okay.
It would be good to see them to have a shot at the brass ring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One more time.
One more time.
Okay.
One more again, as we say.
Right, exactly. I mean, so who back in the day when you were first falling in love with him? Who's your guy?
Man, I'm blanking on names right now. Of course,
Clyde, would that be?
Clyde would be number one. What's my brother's name? Real tall brother.
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
Well, there's many of them. There's Willis Reed from back in the day.
Nah, man, I'm thinking
Ewing?
about Ewing.
Patrick
Ewing, man. I remember going to the games and seeing him, with his ice packs on, man, and he put the towels over him.
Oh yeah.
He really
he gave his entire body.
He gave his all to the spirit of the game, and I remember the spirit of the team is exciting.
My guy was Bernard King when I was growing up here in New York City.
Yeah.
I just loved him and loved the Knicks, loved going to Madison Square Garden. Now there's a team in Brooklyn.
I know the Nets, right? The Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah, they're right over there, right? And part of the whole revitalization of certain parts of the borough.
They did pretty good this season, right?
They did. They're in a playoff position right here, right now. They currently sit here.
Yeah.
And it's funny that you are as New York through and through as you possibly can be, and yet so many people obviously equate you with the city of Baltimore because of your role in The Wire. Do you find that really weird in a way sometimes?
Not really. When I went into the character, I purposely did not want him to sound like a dude from Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. Omar was born and bred in Baltimore, and so he should walk and talk and sound like a dude from Baltimore. Mm-hmm. So I soaked up the culture, the dialect, and all that stuff, and then I fell in love with the city. So Baltimore is technically my second home.
Is that right?
Oh yeah. On any given day you could find me at the bar at Jimmy's seafood restaurant. Right there, I still have friends on the west side of Baltimore. Shout out to my friend and mentor, Farmer Nell. Mm-hmm. So I have a lot of roots. I still have a lot of ties and roots in Baltimore that were born from The Wire.
So how do you? Because I can hear the New York accent in you right now. I can hear it coming out. And with me, if you cut me off in traffic, it will cut off. It will come out. The road rage, Michael, is where it will really come out.
I've calmed down in my ears.
Okay, but so what did you do to get the Baltimore, I guess, the accent that you would think that would be picked up? What'd you do?
I mean, I just absorbed. I went into the streets. I went to the streets. I met people. I would sit for hours in Fraley's. It's in the back of the Lexington market, mm-hmm. and I would just listen to random conversations of people coming and going, and it was so vibrant. But when I started really making friends and having relationships with the community, again, Farmer Nell, another friend of mine, Jarrell Wilson, and a lot of athletes, are free. Antonio Freeman, Sam Cassell. These are men that took me into their families, into their communities. And you hang around them long enough, you're gonna pick that dialect up.
Sam Cassell, huh?
Yeah, man. God bless the dead. My brother, he played for the Falcons. I'm blanking on his name right now. He just recently passed. Tripped, falling with his son, playing with his son. He fell. He's also from Baltimore. He played on the Falcons. Keon Carpenter. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of good. Dare I say, Carmelo Anthony. I know back in the days when he was a baby running around the streets of Baltimore. So I had a lot of good friends to help me get in character, shall I say?
All right. So let me stop you at Carmelo Anthony. How did you come across him, meet him, Michael?
Again, Carmelo was a prince of the city very early on. I remember once I started hanging around the elite athletes of the city, like of the names I just called. It wasn't before long that I was I got to meet Carmelo and go to his, back when his mom was living in Baltimore, I got to meet his fam. This was just, he was just about to go pro, you know what I mean?
But he was about to probably head off to Syracuse, right?
Exactly, to Syracuse.
For one shot.
Well, which is like, no offense, maybe that is kind of like going pro. Maybe we need to.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Wow.
Chris, he's a Syracuse
Absolute
guy.
cheap shot.
I'm sorry to keep the broadside.
A little gun, huh? A little gun, huh?
I'm sorry.
Wow.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
I mean, it's okay.
But no, that's when he was getting off to go to the big time. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's when you were just beginning to work on The Wire, and that's how you came across him.
Exactly.
And it's amazing how he's from Baltimore, associated from New York.
From
You're
Brooklyn.
From New York. I know. Right.
From Brooklyn.
I know. It's incredible how these things happen. And you're Brooklyn associated with Baltimore in that regard. Michael K. Williams here on the Rich Eisen Show. Let's talk about The Public. It's in theaters today. You are part of. Now, this is a fascinating movie. How did you get hooked up with Emilio Estevez for this film, Michael?
Emilio just, he calls you, and when Emilio calls you, you take the call, right? And it was plain and simple. I got a phone call that he was interested in me for the role of Jackson, and I was such a huge fan of his. I mean, from the work he did just in front of the camera, then with Bobby and things he did behind. I linked at the opportunity just to have a conversation with him, and then once I read the script, it was a wrap. It was a wrap. I knew I had to be a part of this.
Yeah, it's about a library that's taken over by homeless in Cincinnati to try and get out of the cold and seek shelter. And you're part of the crew of homeless folks that take over the shelter. Did you learn anything from being on this?
I learned a lot, Rich. I learned a lot of things that I forgot, actually. The first thing I remembered that I remembered was how important the library was to the community, how much of a vital staple it is, especially to a working class community like what I came from. I realized how far away I had gotten from that reality. Now that I could afford to buy a laptop, I guess I thought I didn't need the library, and I've forgotten how valuable it is of an institution to the community still to this day. Everyone can't afford laptops or computers. Everyone doesn't have good or can afford any internet to send off resumes, to talk to family members that may be out of the country. The library is still important for a lot of people who find needs to do things like that and can't do it from their home.
Right. Yeah, they can't go online. There's no smartphone.
No,
it's an actual book in a place where you can go get the book.
And it's free. It's to the public, and it's one of the last places in our country that you can go to with dignity and don't have to not be made to spend any money. And you can get things done, and it's in a clean, safe environment, But due to our homeless, our people who don't have the situation with people who don't live in homes. I'm trying to get away from the word homeless.
I know what you're saying.
Because it detaches me from the fact that they're part of my community. So, when we have a situation where people are falling through the cracks and their last place of dignity is to go to the public library, it's such a cry for help, but at the same token, thank God that it's there.
And in this film, it's also a refuge from the cold. Hell of a cast, man, that you are with right here.
Yeah, I'm in some pretty good company.
Yeah, I know. You are with some really good company. And you got Alec Baldwin, Taylor Schilling. Jeffrey Wright is. We had him on the show. He's a diehard Washington Redskins fan. We can't even talk about that.
He's okay.
Yeah.
He's okay.
Yeah, he's got some thoughts on the world as well.
I love Jeffrey Wright.
Me too. Me too. I follow him on Twitter, and it's
eventful. Yeah,
it is eventful.
Him and David Simon, they're out there.
Oh
man.
my gosh,
they're out there, man.
David Simon, who is the creator of The Wire, he's an interesting follow. I can't really say what he says on his account.
Yeah,
because it's not safe for work. Quite a bit.
No.
It's quite a bit.
Yeah.
What was it like having words of his that he wrote come out of your mouth?
I just recently found out that David was messing with me, man. They started giving me all this mythological and Greek-esque type dialogue to mess with me. It got to the point where they was like, he nailed that. Okay, well, he nailed that. let's see if he he's so good. Let's see if he'll get this.
Just
and, you know, and they started throwing me like all that, you know, this. You know, I heard this in a random interview where they would just, you know, I was like, you know, okay, yeah, so that's what it was like to work with David Simon.
Where he would just make things more and more difficult for you because you were handling other stuff with ease.
What a compliment, right? I mean, to have someone like David Simon give me extra credit homework because he felt that I could. He wanted to challenge me to see if I had it.
Right.
To even get to that level with someone that writes on his level is it's a compliment. I would take that as a compliment.
You should, because you're awesome at what you do.
You
bet. I've got a couple of facts that we noticed about you in articles that were written about you and other interviews that you had. And can we play Celebrity True or False with Michael K. Williams here?
All right, it's all true, but I mean, I've sought counseling. You know.
No, you haven't heard the question yet.
Okay.
Okay,
all
Mike.
right,
Can we hit the drop, please, over there? Celebrity True or False?
Celebrity True. Keeping it real. Or false.
Your first film role was a result of Tupac picking your picture off a wall and declaring that you looked like you could play his little brother in the film Bullet. Is that true?
That is true.
What was that about?
You couldn't have said it more accurately.
That is it.
Yeah, he was.
Walk me through that.
He saw a Polaroid picture of me in the production office in Manhattan where they were housing the movie Bullet. It was, I believe it's a Dwayne Reed now. It's on the corner right over there by La Esquina, like Lafayette and like Spring over there in that area. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he claimed he saw my picture, and he said in his words, you know, I had already been cut in my face. So he told the director, Julian Temple, I believe it was, that I go find me because he said I looked thugged out enough to play the role of his little brother.
No kidding. Did you ever meet with him? Or
Yeah.
You must have.
Yeah.
What was that like?
He was intense. He was really intense. You know, you didn't say much around Pac. You just, you know, you kind of just did this kind of thing. You just let him rip, and you just listen to him. And but I did learn a lot from him. I learned how to stand up for myself a little bit on set when my opinion mattered. Mm-hmm. He taught me that. He also taught me to not come to set and then get ready. You come to set ready. You leave your dressing room in character. When you come to set, you're in character.
He taught you that.
Pac taught me that, and he taught me that by me watching him. It wasn't nothing he had to tell me. I would just, you know, be a fly on the wall when he came in the room and just observe him.
Huh. Do you know who he learned that from at all? Did you ever ask?
No, sir.
I just didn't know that.
I was afraid he'd cuss me out.
Okay. I hear you. Next one. You met Felicia Pearson in a club, introduced the creators of The Wire to Felicia, and they wrote the character and cast her as Snoop. True story?
That is correct. True.
No kidding.
Yes, sir. It was like 1:40. And I was in the VIP section, and the friggin' bartender, man, I was losing faith that she was gonna make it back before last call to the actual last call. So I decided to troop to the bar to get that last call, and there she was. And she stopped me dead in my tracks. I couldn't stop staring at her. I was like, this is either a very beautiful young woman or a very pretty boy. Either way, I want to get to know her. And she walked over and she introduced her. She actually introduced herself to me, and we've been friends and we've been family ever since.
That's awesome. Omar Little was the only major character on The Wire to not use profanity, and you had complete control to remove any curse words from your script. Is that true?
That is true. After first of all, David and Ed, they wrote him as a man that did not use profanity. But, you know, as TV shows move on, you know, they hire different writers. David was in the writing room, you know, and things were moving. And, you know, certain writers would come in, and there were certain times, there were certain scripts where certain curse words slipped through the filter. And I remember, I was like, you know, I called, I said, Dave, you know, we got this thing where Omar don't, you know, he was like, nah. From now on, you see that was a typo. You see any more profanity in your dialogue, you
had the right.
He told me that. Yeah, but he gave me the right to do it.
Where did Omar Coming come from? Did you make that up? Omar Coming.
No, sir. That was
in
all
the script.
That was all in the script.
Okay. What about Honey Nut Cheerios?
All in the script.
Did you ever ask why Honey Nut Cheerios? That was something that you had to eat?
I was so grateful it wasn't wheat. What's the wheat? Shredded wheat. My mother said, "Do not look the gift horse in the mouth." Right? Friggin' Cheerios and Honey Nut.
I know.
I died and gone to heaven.
Honey Nut Cheerios.
Life can't get no better, right?
I know. It is great. Every time I eat it, I think of you. And we have, my wife and I, we have matching Omar coming t-shirts.
Say word.
We do. That's a fact.
Oh man, you should have brought out and signed yours.
I know. I appreciate it. I don't know if it fits me anymore, quite honestly. But next time we have you on, I would love to have you.
I'd be glad to come back
to
next
sign
time.
that. So before I let you go, two things. Do you want to give any thoughts on the passing of Nipsey Hussle? Do you have any thoughts on what happened that you'd like to have the floor to?
Yes,
about?
yes, I would. I've been that hit me to my core. First of all, I just met him just a month ago, and in full disclosure, I had no idea of all the good he was doing in the community until after this incident happened. So I can't tell you what an idiot I feel like and how much this is really killing me on the inside. I recently started. I'm developing a project, a non-scripted project around community pride. And the premise of this show for me, the foundation, was the question I'd asked myself: how come people from my community, when we find success, we are taught and conditioned to leave the very same community that made us successful? And it was a dog whistle to people from my community that have reached a certain level of success, whether it be entertainment, whether it be doctor, lawyer, whatever your field was. It was a dog whistle to them to let's find ways to really give back to our community and not feel like everything we did had to be for the sole reason of getting out. Mm-hmm. The other side of success is, if you choose to get out, that's part of it, but the other half should be able to come back home, because it is home for me. And so Nipsey Hussle was the poster child for that for me, and so now, I aspire to be like that young man, to put my money where my mouth is, to really have an impact on the community, and to have that image, to have that example so violently snuffed out. I'm hurting on another level that I've never really felt before. But if it's one thing I know that if I didn't know before, it's my community, my children, my little brothers and sisters. They need me now more than ever. This can't be the only narrative that comes out of my community, and I don't care what. Crenshaw is still a beautiful place with beautiful people, and I would still be blessed and be honored to walk the streets of Crenshaw and meet the people, and I refuse to let a situation like this make me afraid to go home. And I encourage anybody else to do the same.
Well, makingkidswin.com, what's that website and that organization about, Michael?
Making Kids Win is my way of just ensuring that there are no more situations like this, no more Central Park Fives. I just want to be accountable and do my part as a man from my community. So Making Kids Win is a foundation where we're going to partner with other grassroots community that are already boots on ground doing the work, like my friend and sister Dana Ratchin from your hometown, Staten Island, who has nyctogether.org. We just want to put things in the community, and I hate using the word programming because it's basically just it's normal things that should be in the community already, but because it's not there, we have to make like we're doing something spectacular by putting programming in back in the communities. So that's what we're doing in things like trauma counseling through the arts, which is something that's really huge for me, that helped me a lot as a young man coming up. Urban agriculture, but not just planting and fruits and vegetables and selling it to the farmers market. We're going to teach them how to do microgreens, where you can do that in your apartment, and how to cold press. You can make something that you can actually sell and put back into the community, something healthy. Education, meeting them on any level that there are to get them to another level, whatever that may be. And lastly, to create a certified classification called change officers, where we can hire formerly incarcerated men and women, and use their education to help us steer the youth in making more healthier choices. So, when I'm not working on, Michael the actor, this is where you'll find me.
MakingKidsWin.com. And
Yes,
again,
sir.
you mentioned Central Park 5. That's what the Netflix series When They See Us is exactly about. 4-part series that you're part of on Netflix that begins to start streaming on the last day of May 31st. I will see anything that you were in.
Thank
and
you,
I'm not
man.
just saying that because you come by here on that show. When I heard you were booked on this show, I got extremely excited, called my wife. We've been big fans of yours for a long time. You were
I tell you
a
what,
talented
Rich,
actor, sir.
next time I come through,
Yes.
you got to bring your Omar t-shirt, man. I'm going to sign it for you, bro.
Okay, yeah.
I'll sign it for you.
Done. Absolutely fantastic. I'd love it anytime. At BKBMG, both on Instagram and Twitter, for Michael K. Williams. Check out The Public in theaters today. Right now. Good to see you, sir.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.